Big thanks for joining me on TMI as we x-ray OBASEKI and good governance, deepening inclusiveness. You agree with me that since the governor for the second term joined the People's Democratic Party in June last year, a few months to the election proper, there was really a sign of victory already waving on for the People's Democratic Party. And that dovetailed, and the election went on, and the governor emerged again for second term. And looking at that, there's need for inclusiveness in governance. We look at the need for policies and programs to be far-reaching to even the grassroots indigents of the state. We look at the need for programs to embrace all and sundry, and the need for participation in this regard to also embrace all and sundry. And then we take a dive to what is going on, what is happening in the People's Democratic Party Edo State chapter, and the need again to have inclusiveness in that direction, as there is ongoing issues concerning the need for harmonization of positions, like members of the old PDP seem to be refusing the new entrants that joined the Governor OBASEKI into the PDP. And all of this seem not to augur well, because you look at the victory that came as a result of the governor emerging in the polls, and the need for the party to sustain that victory, but there seemed to be a different direction in that case. Well, joining me to discuss this, starting from my immediate left, I have a one-time governorship candidate of the Edo 2020 or Edo 2016 rather, and he is a politician, also a legal practitioner, Comrade Cosmos Irabo. Thanks for joining me, Cosmos.
Good morning and welcome, viewers.
And next to him, I have a political economist. He is Ibrahim Momo. Thanks for joining me, Ibrahim Momo.
Thanks for having me. Good morning, distinguished viewers.
Ibrahim Momo is also a public affairs analyst. And also right away from Texas, Houston, joining me via Zoom, I have a social media influencer, and he is Ahmed Mamadou. Good morning, Ahmed.
Good morning, Philip. Good morning, my co-panelists.
All right, how you doing? And how is Texas, Houston this morning?
It's bright and early, but it's good.
Okay.
Good.
All right. I think you'll be holding on as I start with the guest in the studio, starting first with you, Cosmos. You were a governorship candidate under a party in 2016, and you contested side by side with the governor of Edo State, Governor OBASEKI. And then you look at the need for inclusiveness. I believe while you were gunning for the position, you already had a template. And then looking at that, do you see the governor under the second term and the party, PDP, really embracing inclusiveness, even by the party or in other areas of governance?
Well, you see, at times when people go complaining that there are issues in the party, I laugh. Common sense will tell everybody that when there's a situation like this, the first thing you have is you have issues. That's disagreeing to later agree. Even when husband and wife marry, the first 2 years is seen and known as the teething period. And then after that time, everything, gets harmonized and begin to flow very well. So it's a normal thing that we are beginning to experience this few or initial disagreement that is going on. But I feel that the government has done so well with regards to trying to harmonize the so-called alleged old PDP and new PDP. PDP is PDP. I don't think there's anything new or old, because if you watch out, excuse me, those who are even calling themselves as new PDP, some of them were the founding members of PDP when the whole thing started. So that is it. I don't see any issue there, because the man has done so well. He has called for meetings. He had gone to meet leaders and all. You don't expect people to vacate their positions, come and join you, and you just let them become floor members. They had a chairman, state chairman, executive members. What is in, harmonizing? Let people come. You come. If I was a chairman, if there was a chairmanship position, somebody who was a chairman there can become a vice chairman. I don't really see anything. There's no big deal. In as much as people want to say they have the legal right and all that, it's true. But at times, there's what you call conscience. You understand? Even the law talks about natural conscience. It is not always law. There's no big deal, And then the governor himself will also know that these people that have dropped their positions should also be compensated somewhere. It's just like you now say, okay, you want to remain your positions. And the governor say, okay, if that be the case, you can remain your positions. Those who had so positions that left their positions, I will make them commissioners, senior special advisors, and all that. We want the same as alleged old PDP complaint. So we should try with caution, place a balance sheet and let everything flow. You cannot just hold tenaciously to, I was this, it must be this, I have the legal backing. Yes, you have the legal backing. There's no doubt about that. But that still does not mean that you should not, let conscience and common sense play a role in the whole thing. The man, I've attended meetings where he had gone around to meet people, discuss with them, say, let us come together. You say, no, I'm not doing anything. I was elected, I was Congress. And nobody is saying you were not elected. Nobody is saying you were not Congress. But what I think the man is trying to say is that if we are one, then we should be seen to be one.
Okay, we've had situations where it was reported that the governor did schedule for meetings, and some few individuals who believe that the structure of the PDP is for them refused to attend the meeting. But let's take your viewpoint in that direction as we look at inclusiveness.
Well, I think that the first thing is that the matter is not simplistic. Let us not make any mistake about it. It's a very difficult situation. I say that because just like the governor and his deputy were elected, the top party apparatchik were also elected. It's not a matter of this one was elected, this one was appointed. They were both elected in their own rights. That's the first thing. So, in as much as the governor is not stepping down for the chairman of the party to take over, it is not expected that you said the chairman of the party to step down for your man to take over. So that one has to be put out in the first instance. And then beyond the issue of legalese, the fact that both parties are duly elected, the current party state executive and the governor and his deputy are both legally elected. The other point I think he tried to make, my colleague here tried to make, is the fact that there is the concept of, if I could call it a concept, of a give and take, harmonization, which is the language that is being chosen to be used now. But it is not a one-way street, if I would say. Now, in every administration, in Nigerian context, the three most powerful positions are the governor, deputy governor, and the FGF at the federal or FFG at the state. This one belongs to what you can call, quote unquote, the new PDP. The question now, then you have out of 18 commissioners, you have 11 so far appointed. 11 over 11. Again, you can say the new PDP. That one would ordinarily make the other party jittery. The other, what they are now referring to as the old PDP, the original PDP or the old PDP, as the case may be, jittery. In fact, there's even an allegation or a statement that has been thrown around that the state party secretary, publicity secretary, Nehigari Chris, did resign because he wanted to take commissioner. But again, he was not appointed a commissioner in the level of the release. Which means that, and he said that he has no right to speak on behalf of the party because he was supposedly, he said to have resigned to...
Okay, but we can't be saying that because we don't have the right...
No, that's what people have said.
But I want you to just tackle it head-on, objectively.
Yeah, no, see, I am not... If you know me, I'm a very, very objective person. I'm putting the cards on the table.
Okay.
Now, what is there to be said, really, is the fact that a give and take is a give and take. It's not a take and take. And that is why, in the first instance, I commended the governor for not going, he could have done it. He could have gone ahead and appointed 18 commissioners from his own faction. He didn't do that. He left 7. And what I hear from top, I have contact with certain party executives and even people close to the governor. What I've heard from both sides is that those 7 are going to be negotiated for by the PDP. Okay, what are you giving us, the PDP executive? What are you giving us in terms of offices, or in terms of the party structure, so that you can have these 7 seats? Not only that, I think it was 8 special advisors that have been approved by the House of Assembly for the governor. The governor has already appointed 2, leaving another 6 for the party.
So which means there's room to harmonize in that direction.
The issue is that
which the governor is looking towards.
Yeah, the governor in his own wisdom has left room to bring in it's not an opposition actually.
Okay, so that shows that on the part of the governor, he has the desire to bring about more inclusiveness, but there seems to be a setback from the other members of the party.
What the governor has done is to give room, to fill in. Because party is about party politics, is about interests. It's a give room for inclusiveness. But what I think he has not done right is the fact that the way he has gone about it is in a gung-ho, macho approach.
Okay.
The idea that look at the issues of suspension and kind of suspension flying around. That's not healthy.
Okay, I'll come back to you. Don't forget, the governor happens to be the leader of the party. And Ahmed Momodu, don't you think, being the leader of the party, he should be given the full right, to redirect the party in a position to bring about good governance and more inclusiveness? Don't you think this is becoming a setback? Because if you look at the majority decisions and votes for the governor, it's as a result of the majority votes for the governor that the PDP is now the ruling party in the state. What do you make of this, Ahmed Momodu?
Well, it will be best if we step back a little bit and find out the antecedents of the governor that you are talking about in the first place. This is not new to OBASEKI. OBASEKI is a child of chaos, in short, to put it directly. The chaos that I'm talking about is very simple. It started from his first tenure, where he refused to swear in the House of Assembly. Those ones are still in abeyance. He's talking about a situation where the lowest level of governance, the local government chairman, they are in abeyance. We are talking about inclusiveness of government. This is not a one-off situation. This is a character flaw. This is something that has been happening over time. Now I hear my co-panelists are beating around the bush. The issue is that governance is suffering in Edo State. That is what the issue is. One of the co-panelists was talking about how time is 1 year is gone already. OBASEKI only has 3 more years. How many more years is he going to spend fighting? He spent the first tenure fighting the APC.
But don't you think you'll be wrong, Ahmed Momodu, to say that he's fighting? Because if you look at it critically, the governor, like what Ibrahim Momodu did say, the governor is leaving room, for inclusiveness. And this seems to suggest that even in the cabinet, the whole department, the SSA, for instance, that is still yet to be filled up, that also shows again on the part of the governor that he is allowing room for inclusiveness. Don't you think there's a drag, on the part of the other members that seem to hold on to the structures of the party?
Philip, one of the co-panelists pointed out very clearly that if you check out the hierarchy of governance, the first person is the governor, the second deputy, and then the third is the secretary to the state government. Anywhere after that, you can include anybody you want to include if you are interested in harmonizing. The issue of harmonizing is not something that should take a year while governance is suffering, while traffic is building, while people are being killed, while governance, the people of Edo State are the final losers in all of this protracted confusion. Call it what you will. Call it harmonization, call it lack of understanding. Who is suffering? They didn't vote for somebody to come and be telling them 1 year later that old PDP and new PDP cannot harmonize. What does that mean? That is absolute nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. And if the people had a voice, they would tell them that they are only interested in themselves. Nobody is interested in your harmonization. If you know you can, look, let us make it very clear from the get-go. The Constitution makes it clear that only a political party can sponsor a candidate to elective office. So whatever problems OBASEKI is having with PDP, that is his business.
No, you can't say that. You can't say that. You can't say that, Ahmed.
And
you can't say that, Ahmed. Ahmed, I'll be coming back to you. Now, let's also give room for Cosmos Irabo, who has been a party member, and to really ventilate his opinion in this regard. Some see that the governor seems to be high-handed in this direction. What's your assessment of that?
Well, everybody is entitled to his opinion. Just like the Ahmed is entitled to his opinion by saying that we are beating around the bush. For me, I've said it. You see, it is commonsensically dry for somebody to wake up in the morning and you say, somebody who is coming to join you, the person himself will not have anything, you know, but everything you. Look, we are politicians. I'm sure when the governor started, what people laughed at, what people said was that, forget him, he does not have structure, he doesn't have anything. He cannot even win his ward. He cannot even win his unit. Isn't that what they were saying? I know him very well. He was one of those people who said that Obaseki is not a politician, Obaseki cannot do anything. But the same man who said cannot do anything has won the state. Why? Because the people believe in him. Even when they're saying that he is not doing anything, nobody wants to see him. The same people say he's doing something, we want to see him, and we will vote for him. And they voted for him. He won clearly. That's why Mosquito won an elephant. So we're not even going to say about that. Like the question you asked, how else do you want the man to do it? If he wants to be macho, he won't create truth, like my brother said. You see, people are not deep into this thing, so we are anchoring on mere speculation. This man, like I heard, my own personal opinion, like I heard, chief governor and deputy governor, of course, that was placed on the ground, on the table before the election. Then when it got to the area of the position of the SSG, I said, okay, you people that the old produce the position. It was left bare for a while, nothing happened. Instead, we're having Jocelyn and all that. When they discovered that time was going, because the position of the SSG is a very sensitive one. He had to bring somebody, he wanted to put somebody that is close. And that you should know is that if somebody is being elected into an office, if you want to be sincere, you will appoint those you know can work with you, who help you, drive the vehicle to where you make results. It's not just issue of I must appoint because I want to appoint. You must appoint people that you understand. The people you understand are people from where he's coming from. Over and above that, the man said, okay, I have appointed my own commissioners. You provide your own. I heard he said, we cannot continue to wait for them. We have appointed now. Bring your own. You're having issues. You're having issues. When somebody say he appointed this, but he has not appointed, the man said, I've appointed this. Bring your own. Okay, in the first instance, let us harmonize. You refused. You say you are not shifting grants. The man now is now appointing commissioners, like I did say. If he now says, okay, I'm not shifting grants also, keep your party positions while I give the other ones to the so-called ones that came with me. How would the people say? He gave everything out to these ones. But you see, it has to start from, you take a step, we take a step, we continue like that. I don't belong to the old PDP, I don't belong to the new PDP. I just joined PDP. You get what I'm saying? So we must be objective in what we say.
Okay, you said something concerning the governor's style and the need for him to be allowed to really take leadership and ensure that he brings about good governance in Edo State. Yes. Now, he is the governor and he is expected that he works with those he finds capable, he finds accommodating enough, to take his dream, to take his policies in order to bring about a better Edo State. But in it all, should it just be about the party? Shouldn't it be about the betterment of the Edo people? Ibrahim.
Well, the truth is, ideally, because there is an if and there is ought to. There is the norm and then the ideal. Ideally, what has to happen is that irrespective, like in the US, you don't count where the man is from. Is he from Texas? Is he from Florida? Is he from Boston? You're not asking those questions. You're asking, you're not asking what state he is from. But that's the ideal. You bring out the best across boards. But when you come to Nigeria, it's a different ballgame. The concept of federal character. It's a constitutional issue. You are supposed to appoint a minister from every state of the federation. You're supposed to appoint a commissioner from every local government of your state. So these considerations, and see, the point I'm pointing out is that there are no universal laws regarding these appointments. That's the first thing. Secondly is that when it comes to competence, the issue should not be those you are comfortable working with. That's how, for example, those who complain about Nigeria, that's how we got about complaining about Nigeria. Those who the president feel comfortable with.
But he's the governor and he has that right to form his cabinet.
Yeah, no, see, let's not make the mistake. The governor could have gone to any other party. He chose PDP. Perhaps there is something he saw in PDP. For example, not another thing, I think is the structure that the PDP has. There are only two parties who can seriously win elections outside of Anambra, either at the state, federal level. It is only the PDP and the APC. He's not going to any other party. He understood that there was something in place.
That is wrong.
He understood that there's something PDP has that will be a value addition. It is not, nobody should make any mistake about it. Going to PDP was a value addition to him. He could have, if he had gone, would he have had the kind of, it's in politics, except for those who don't understand politics. It is not at the state level you play politics. It's at the unit and ward levels that you play politics. That is, if you don't have structures in ground in every unit and ward in the state, winning election is almost impossible. Look at it. Look at the results. When you check the PDP score and the APC combined, it's about 98.5% of total votes cast. I think it happened by total. There were 23 political parties that conducted the election. Of the 23 parties, only two got 98.5% of the votes. It is structure for crying out loud. So the reality is that there was something he saw in the PDP, and nobody should deceive us. Really, PDP. I'm not a PDP member. It's not an issue of party allegiance. The point I'm making now. Make no mistake about it. He saw that value in PDP when he chose to leave APC for the PDP. Don't compromise that. So the issue, therefore, should be that when we say politics, it's not gung ho. I blame the governor. I also blame the party apparatchik, the state party executives, because rather than talking with themselves, they are talking at each other. They are at loggerheads. That's not how you make progress.
Which will all go well for the party.
It does not all go well for the party. It does not all go well for the administration. It does not all go well for the state.
Talking to themselves before it got to that level.
It does not all go for even for the state. Governance is suffering. No matter what people say, you don't have local government chairmen and councillors elected.
Okay, by that, how do you expect the governor to act? Do you want him to act in a way that may be inimical to the state?
What I expect the governor to do, it's not inimical. I don't get the point in that you say act in a way that's inimical. That he is negotiating in a way that is on a level playing field, not on the level of imposition, not on the level of I am the leader. You see, the issue of leader is one under misnomer with our political system in Nigeria. Ideally, when you form political parties, it is the people that own the party, so that the leader, the elected officials, take instruction from the party. Has a program. It has an ideology. When you are elected on the platform of that party, you are supposed to drive your governance style along the lines of the party's ideology. That's why you can have what we call right wing. Okay. Nationally, you have the left wing, you have the center right or center left. And you have the centrist party generally. People, and then of course issues like Green Party issues. You know, when a person is elected, it's supposed to drive the agenda or what we call the manifesto, or indeed the ideology of the party. But that now that you now have a thing by I am now the leader. It is not OBASEKI that started it to make no mistake about it. It's not OBASEKI's fault. It is an Obasanjo started that issue that I am the elected person. I am the leader of the party. Started by Obasanjo. No, even
you are not comfortable with that.
It's wrong. That's not how parties are run. That's not how parties are run. It is not. Let me make the point. It is not the governor's fault that is, but it exists, and it's a challenge across board.
Okay.
Look at, for example, the national chairman of a party will be removed because a powerful individual, a leader, not the chairman, determines that it is not. It happened in APC, it happened in PDP.
Okay, thank you. I'll come back to you. I think we still have Ahmed Momodu from Texas joining us via Zoom. Now Ahmed, I would like you to ventilate your opinion in this regard on how to bring about inclusiveness as it concerns the party, and also to ventilate your opinion over the approach deployed by the executive governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki, in bringing up a stakeholders meeting, town hall meeting, to look at the way forward in terms of adopting the anti-open grazing bill, making it a law. Now, other southern governors, majority of them have already passed it into law, and Edo State is yet to do its bid. What do you make of all of this threat?
Okay, to your first question, how to harmonize, the OBASEKI he has proclaimed himself to be the leader. And it's the leader's position and the leader's responsibility to bring all his followers together.
Sorry, I don't understand when you said he has proclaimed. Please, I have to cut in there. For you to say he has proclaimed, don't you think that's wrong? Because the Constitution already allows that. That as the governor of the state, he is the leader.
Listen to my co-panelist. He made it clear that in a normal democratic setting, the executive governor is not necessarily the leader of the party. Nigeria is an anomaly. There is something wrong with our political arrangement where the executive is the judge, jury, and executioner. That's why you have that problem.
Okay, but what about if the Constitution says so? If the Constitution of the party says so,
does not place the leadership of the party in the executive governor. There is a state chairman. The state chairman is the de facto leader of the party in the state. The national chairman is the de facto party leader in the nation. So these things must be clear. My co-panelist made all those things clear. So if he's saying that he's the leader, then he must act like a leader. If these people have grievances, it is not enough. Look, in Israel, there are like 12 parties that come together to form leadership. In the UK, it's like 4 or 5. In Germany, it's about 7 or 8. They don't take out protracted confusion and spill it out into governance for 1 year, going into 2 years, talking about harmonization nonsense. Harmonization is causing problems in Edo State.
But excuse me, Ahmed Mamadou, you have to be careful in your utterances, because I think it's better you just speak objectively without making any negative utterances.
Let's be objective. Objectively speaking, there is a problem and there's a leadership lacuna. Objectively speaking, the harmonization is setting back Edo State and the citizens who voted for good governance back. Now we are only talking about maybe 2.5 years left. How much time are they going to spend harmonizing before they even get into the proper arrangement of governance? These are the things that we're talking about. To your second question, you were talking about localizing the anti-grazing law. A lot of political issues in Nigeria are dealt with in a back and forth manner. The federal government came out and objectively said, let us have cattle ranches. And the state governors refused. They said it was a land grab disguised as. Now they are back to that point and they are saying they want to stop open grazing. You cannot stop something that you have no control over. Border lines, federal highways, those things are not controlled by the states. The best thing that any of these states can do is to say, look, even if you want to graze, these are the areas that we will give you, and this is the only area we expect to find you. Now, the issue of grazing, I don't know why it is such an issue. If the state government is constitutionally empowered, and it's only the state government that can issue you C of O for property within that jurisdiction. So if the state governor tells you he's not interested in it, then what is the issue? How can you say you want to ban open grazing? Look, there are territorial lines that have been drawn pre-independence from the northern part of the country to the south. Those lines they are constantly managed and they are constantly used by people that are grazing, that are using their cattle and this and that. We've made even law enforcement so pedestrian that anything that is a problem is Fulani headsmen. Where are the policemen? How many have they arrested? How many have they brought to justice? We've become so lazy and so laid back that we discuss issues that are of no consequence whatsoever. What is open grazing?
Okay, from what you are saying, you are against that act, as in making it a law against open grazing. But don't forget that don't forget that the land is owned by the state.
Clarity. What I'm against is putting in place a law that you cannot back up, you cannot implement, and you cannot see through. The state government do not control the police. How are they going to make sure that open grazing is, if they ban open grazing?
Okay, I'll stop you there. I'll stop you there, and I would like Cosmos about to comment on this. He just made mention of it, that the way they are going about it is not the right way. What's your...
See, I want to say, for once, I 100% tilt to his side. You see, when they talk of ban, disease, with due respect, I see it as most of the times gallivanting in a superficial ecstasy, if I should put it that way. You are just talking because you want to talk. I expect that people should study before you begin to talk. The governor, of course, is, as alleged, on paper, the chief executive officer of a state. But does the governor have control over the security apparatus? He doesn't. Now, what? I said this word 3 times. What is the problem between the headers, the herdsmen, and the farmers? This is what I've been there for years, no issue. What suddenly became the problem? One, they enter their farms and damage the things there. There's a law on that already. If you go to criminal code, it's there, okay, which is malicious damage. 2, in the process, there are conflicts. Assault. Assault is in the criminal code. In the process, like they allege, they rape. Rape is in the criminal code. Some say they kill. Murder is in the criminal code. So these are the things that bring about issues.
Okay, so we have issues of enforcement.
Listen, now this is already that there are laws there already. So what else do you want to do? You want to just start making laws? He has sat down to study this thing. If the laws are there and they couldn't tackle it, then what do you need to do? You sit down, strategize on what is the cause of this problem. That is what I expect people to see.
Isn't that what the governor is doing?
And that's what I see him doing. They should get the law banned. Areas that are banned is the issue not see there. Is the problem not see there? So it's not just coming to say ban. If you watch the governors, they all have their different ways of behaving. One thing I've studied about OBASEKI is that he does not flow with whatever any other person is doing. He will sit down, map out, and study. You know, find out why should I do this. I always say it. It's not when, how. Why question? Open grazing ban, 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 ban. If he bans it, the ones that the laws that have been existing, why have they not been enforced? It is the responsibility of the federal government to enforce it. And the same federal government have come out openly to tell you that no, as far as this issue is concerned, we support the headers. Then the same with that statement, body language and everything, you are coming to say they should ban it. I mean, they should prosecute this.
Okay, but why don't you look at the aspect of ranching? Even like the governor did say, even when he had a meeting with the president, and he did spoke concerning this direction, that the ranching system is what we are really working with, and ensure that it's being funded. Don't you think that would have would go a long way to tackle this issue of open grazing? I
am not in support of the open grazing of a thing.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is, with due respect, the careless and callous statement of people saying the government lacks the willpower to enact a law and those ones. It is not coming to enact fresh laws when the old ones have not really done anything. Then when you talk of ranching, as far as the concern, it's a private business. I don't know the federal government's interest in this grazing issue, overflogging it. They should go look for money, buy a piece of land, ranch their cattle. Apart from the fact that the something has become political, it's not better for you to ranch your cattle. It's not outdated having people trek kilometers with cattle defecating everywhere and all that. It's outdated.
Okay.
Moreover, it is not even dangerous for the people doing it. And like I said here before, the people you see walking around with these cattle, they are not the owners. The owners are somewhere there with the bottle of wine and all those, enjoying themselves. These ones are suffering. So the headers themselves should know that they are being used. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay. I want you to come in there, Ibrahim, looking at the way forward, because the governor did have a meeting with the president in this direction for funding of the ranching system. What do you make of that?
Well, the first intervention to make is that to assume that security, the governors have no say in security is not exactly correct. We should speak facts, especially on public television. Because why I say that is that, for example, Neighborhood Watch, the vigilantes, again, it's not, when, that's one, it is not a federal government thing, the control. Secondly is the issue of the police. Yes, the governor is not the one that appoints the commissioner of police. But to assume that governors in Nigeria do not have control in any way whatsoever over the police in their state is not exactly correct.
Okay, it's not exactly correct.
These are something that is public knowledge. This is public knowledge. It's not only about the appointments. Okay, if the governor does not have control, the governor provides security votes. Every governor, I'm not particular about those state government now. Every state governor, no governor in Nigeria does not provide security votes. If you are not in charge of security, can you explain can anybody explain to me what security vote is meant for? Without mincing words, security is not only about appointing the head of the agency or institution. That's put that one in place. The second point to make it about the open grazing hoopla or hula baloo is to say that for me, there's nothing wrong in banning open grazing. There's absolutely nothing wrong in it. It is only a function of how you go about it. In the first instance, at multiple levels, there's nothing valuable about open grazing. Is it the confrontation between farmers and herders? Is it the fact that food insecurities as a result of the cattle grazing on food crops? Is it the food insecurity that comes about it? Is it the fact that the cows themselves are less productive in terms of milk and milk production because they have to trek? If I had to trek to the studio today, how effective would I have been, on air? These are multiple levels to the issue. And then finally, is that what is the way forward? What's the best way forward?
Yeah.
The best way forward for me is what is being adopted first by the federal government and then by the state government. The federal government in the context that we don't just ban in isolation. You don't just ban without reasoning, without a backup plan, without a thought-out plan.
Okay.
It doesn't make any sense that you say, okay, what happens to those cattle? If they are going to live where they are, maybe out of the state, are they not going to move? So you say no open grazing. Cattle is something that as they are moving, whatever thing that they consider nutritious to them on the way, on their path, they eat it. That's how they come about eating. So I think what the state government is doing with regards to a more comprehensive and implementable approach, it's a good thing.
Okay.
Rather than just banning it, and then we have to be careful too. You say people say that it's a private business. So everybody, it's not a private business. I say that let's make the point. I have seen two. I'll give you two examples that we can verify. At around in the Uselu area of Benin, around Uselu Park, there's a ranch there. Go and ask the people who live around there. It's a private business. Ask the people who live around there. I know the owner of that ranch. I have told him one-on-one that ranch it's wrong for it to be. He said, I bought the land for a ranch, and that's what I'm using it for. But how people around there, the issue of fly, the issue of smell, how are they coping? Then go to another one is around, and the government did a very good thing. There used to be one around Technical School, Yoba College. The government removed them from there, from the Yoba College farmlands that's attached to Yoba College. That's because imagine you have cattle with all the challenges that go with it around a school environment. The students will be impaired, their learning will be impaired by that. So it is not exactly a private business. Go and establish ranch anywhere you like. No.
Okay.
What the government is even asking, because I have seen the draft law, what the government is even proposing, which though it's here to present to House Assembly, is that we have a designated area. Designated. Not just that it's a private, the idea that sometimes we just say things because it is what is trending.
Okay.
We're not thinking about the overall implication of what we are saying. It's not a private business by any.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim
stretch.
Momo. Over to you, Ahmed Momodu. You just heard what Ibrahim Momo said. Ibrahim Momo has been making commendable statements in the credit of the governor, and he's been making laudable statements. Don't you think the approach in which the governor is using over this anti-open grazing bill that is being pursued in the state to be passed into law, don't you see it as commendable?
Well, I see it as prevaricating. While I agree with my colleagues in a few instances, knowing the character of the governor, he's prevaricating. because he doesn't want to offend Peter or Paul. But the simple matter of truth is, just like Ibrahim said, the issue of ranching or cattle is food security. That's a national security issue. Whether you like it or not, that's one of the easiest ways to get protein across board. And now, if you are talking about the trade in cattle itself, there is a whole value chain that is a multi-billion-dollar industry. The teeth, the horns, the hides, the meat, the milk. So when we are talking so flippantly about something that is a multi-billion-dollar industry, it almost appears as if we don't even have our priorities right. Anybody that is opposing the settlement of ranching, and why are you ranching? Because like Ibrahim said, you want to modernize what is going on worldwide now. You want to have a local place where you can say, let us go to this point in Uselu, we can buy cheap meat, milk, and we know that because it's standardized, there will be vets there making sure that these things are fit for human consumption. So those are the things that we should be talking about. Now, if his compatriots, the other southern governors, have come out and said they want to ban open grazing, that is fine and good if that's what their constituents are saying. The people of Edo State are also telling their own governor, we need you to take a firm decision and let us know what your decision is. If it is what we support, we will support you. If it is not, we won't. But in his characteristic manner, he's neither going left or right. The issue is that at the end of the day, who is going to suffer? Look, Philip, the value chain that we are going to lose if you say you want to ban, you cannot ban a multi-billion-dollar industry. Where are you going to? Where will you get money from if you are looking for money in the current economy of the world by banning things that you can easily localize and sell? No, nobody does that. Look for the best solution. If you want to ban open grazing, that's fine, because it's causing a lot of problems locally.
And that's exactly the direction.
Then that's the direction, and we agree. Settle them, situate them. A few other states have given out land for this ranching that we are talking about. And Philip, if you go to those places, you will be shocked at the value chain that they've created, the employment opportunities, and what is going on in those places. That is what is so shocking. Whether you like it or not, they will continue to exist. So just find a way to modernize it and let it work for your people. That's what we should be talking about.
Okay, thank you. Still with you, Ahmed Mamadou. Recently, just on the 23rd of this month, a London-based newspaper, Economist News Magazine, did come up with blasts against the president, saying that the president is not able to tackle the issue of corruption headlong, and also the aspect of the economy. Now, the London-based News Magazine also said that the soldiers, the Nigerian military, they are like ghost workers, but only exist on payroll. Now, some are saying, why should this news magazine come in this fashion? Do you support what it says?
Okay, so we're saying that the London-based economic magazine is casting aspersions on the Nigerian economy. This is London that barely a week ago they were suffering from fuel queues and they did not have tanker drivers to supply fuel all over. Look, Philip, neocolonialism is the new way that foreigners use to wash the minds of Africans against their own government. If the UK doesn't have its own problems, then they can come and tell us about the problems in Nigeria. Whether you like it or not, President Buhari has helped the economy at a time when the whole world was going through recession. The whole world is going, the US is in recession. They are paying people now here. They are paying people in the UK. So when you just come out and say they are not doing one thing or they are not doing the other thing, you need to back it up with facts and figures. Look at the war against terrorists in the Northeast. Is it soldiers that are not on payroll that are fighting there? Is it ghost workers that are killing terrorists? Is it ghost workers that are securing the borders? These things don't even make sense. How can they come out and say something like that? The territorial integrity is defended by soldiers, Air Force, Navy, and they are all stationed all over the country. You don't expect to see them out in the open. If you go to the UK, you cannot see a soldier in the streets in uniform. It's outlawed. He must dress in mufti before he comes out. So if I go there now and I see they are all ghost workers, am I making any sense? No. we need to situate some of the things that the foreign news outlets bring in and come and report to us and swallow hook, line, and sinker.
Okay, thank you very much, Ahmed Momodu. Thank you very much, Ahmed Momodu. I think I want to join you, Cosmo Sirabo. You heard what Ahmed said concerning a statement that the news magazine said against the government and the president. What's your reaction to this?
Sorry, before I go into that, let me just talk a bit of what on what my co-panelist said about the governor being in charge of security in the state. If you can refresh your mind, your memory, there was an issue between, in Anambra in 1970-something, when the NPP also, this man was the governor of Anambra State, Jimobodo. Jimobodo had issues with the state police commissioner. His name was what's his name? Bishop. He was not, the bishop was doing what he liked. The NPA was controlling bishop as against the Jimobodo. Then, some time ago in River State, Wike was openly coming out to say that the police commissioner was using SARS against him. If he had controls over these people, why would the state governor come and say SARS is being used against him? Wike said it. So, you see, I would like us to know the kind of words to use. That it's not exactly so, it's not this. These are facts. If you say chief security officer of the state, yes, that's on paper, we all know that. But the actual thing, like I told you, like I keep saying, if the man had his own place the shots, of course he'll know what he needs to do with regards to this issue of headers and all that.
Okay.
Because he knows, that's why he's not in charge.
Okay. Okay, back to the second.
Back to this
the main question.
Well, that's an issue I really wouldn't want to, because when the matter is, when the facts are there, it's there for everybody to see. You can all see it. If the economy is good, the man has worked on the economy, people will know that. It will reflect on our lifestyles. You entered into government when the naira was 150. Now it's 500 and something to $1. You enter into government when, you know, it's there for everybody to see. The facts are there.
Okay. You seem to be going against what Ahmed
Of
Momodu
course,
said.
100%.
Ahmed Momodu was saying that at a point where we have issues with the economy, President Muhammadu Buhari helped in stabilizing
My
the
brother,
country.
if you go to the village, go and ask the poor woman there, the old woman there, they will tell you that you don't need to be an economist to know that. If I want to also talk on the issue of the newspaper, I just heard that now that Nigeria is like, it is not that there are no soldiers, but they are saying that when you are paying somebody who is not doing anything, it's like you are paying a ghost soldier.
Is that actually the case? Are they really not doing something? Is that actually the case?
That's what I don't understand.
Okay, okay. I think.
Wait, if I may go, you say, if I'm supposed to go to Lagos, and I take the road to Port Harcourt, I might be doing something, but in the actual fact, I'm not doing it because whatever I'm doing is negating the intent of what I'm supposed to do.
Okay, okay.
Now you have Boko Haram. They've been there now for 11 to 12 years. Nothing tangible, not one to my knowledge, has been prosecuted.
Wow.
Not one to my knowledge has been prosecuted. Say this Boko Haram man arrested, prosecuted. All I see is that when they are arrested, allegedly arrested, they say they are de-radicalized, they take some into the army, and the next thing they come back again and bomb.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
And then we say something is going on.
Let's come to you, Ibrahim Momo.
Well, these issues are, one of the things I like about the media is the fact that it is there to inform, educate, and then sometimes entertain. It is not to do what they call nowadays UGC, user-generated content. It's not for us to sit as panelists and then use the mantra in the marketplace. The fact that these things, people are saying X, Y, Z, doesn't mean that nothing has been done, nothing is happening. The first thing is that regarding our security forces, people need to understand that these people are overworked. You are saying that they're not working at all, whereas they are overworking. It beats my imagination how Nigerians are not appreciative of the yeoman job of our security forces. Let me give you some stats. In Nigeria, at the last count, they say we are around 206 million people. Has anybody tried to find out how many police officers do we have? The entire Nigerian police force. What's the population of Nigerian police force? To guard 206 million people. Has anybody found out that? It's about 320,000. I'm not saying 320 million. I'm not saying 1 million at all safe. It's 120,000.
Okay, by this, are you saying that the
Nigerian police,
the economists, the foreign-based magazine, the foreign-based magazine is the subject matter here. Are you saying that they are misinforming?
They are ignorant of the facts without minding ways. That's one. Then we're talking about the police is 320,000. Do you know how many military, the Nigerian army, what's the population? It's less than 100,000. Nigerian army.
What's the population of Boko Haram?
Let's address the issue now. I didn't challenge you.
Okay, no problem.
The challenges the country is facing, there's hardly any state in Nigeria where the army is not involved today. Is Boko Haram in the southeast? But the army is there. Is Boko Haram in the southwest? But the army is there. Is Boko Haram in the south side? Is he in rivers? But the army is there. Well, let's give these people this is what is one that is wrong with Nigeria. Nigerians, not Nigeria. Because one of the things we do is that when we don't like something, when people don't like, for example, don't like the governor of Edo State, they will oppose, there's nothing good about the governor. When they like the president, nothing good about the president. Again, now we are now attacking the security forces who are doing the human. In 2014, March 15, the same day that Chibok girls were kidnapped, 2014. I was on my way from Nsukka, where I do my study, where I was studying for PhD, coming from Nsukka to Benin. We were robbed at Iseluku. I spent the night, I don't forget the day, because that was the day the Chibok girls were kidnapped. That same day, I was robbed. Now, I spent the night at the police station at Iseluku. I said this one for the first time on air. Yeah, and the thing is that the police did not sleep all through the night. Even when I was sleeping, I was still sleeping. The police were sleeping. We're not sleeping.
Okay.
We are criticizing them.
Let's situate this right. Not only did they talk about the Nigerian army, the newspaper magazine also spoke about the economy. Now, if you look at the budget, for instance, that the proposal that the president gave to the National Assembly, now, don't you think a huge percentage of that budget will be sourced from borrowing?
Yeah.
And looking at that again, the budget seems to source for borrowing to fund, recurrent expenditures rather than fund the capital projects. Don't you think, again, that is a big misnomer?
Well, the two things there about borrowing. One, borrowing is not a crime. In fact, economically.
But what is used for?
It is smart thinking to borrow.
Okay.
The challenge with borrowing, which Nigerians complain about, is what are the outcomes of those borrowings? If you are borrowing, we are seeing the infrastructure. Well, for some of the borrowing, maybe the rail sector, the railways, you can say it, but it's not every borrowing that goes into the rail. Sometimes, like you pointed out correctly, some of them are into recurrent, non-productive expenditure.
Which again brings issues that was raised by the Economist newspaper. Well, let's get to you, Ahmed Momodu. Ahmed Momodu, I think as we wrap up on this, what do you make of this? Because there are issues concerning the economy, and Nigerians are not really finding it funny. You are in Texas, Houston, and you are not in Nigeria as we speak. I believe that the issues in Nigeria economically probably gave you a big reason to leave this country for a greener pasture. But let's look at the aspect where Nigerians are saying that the issue of VAT, reintroduction of VAT, about 75% of VAT reintroduction into gas. Don't you think this is a decision that the federal government shouldn't have taken? Because it goes a long way to also increase inflation in Nigeria. Is that the step that the federal government should have taken in this direction?
There's a worldwide shortage of gas. That has somehow led to the increases in gas. I am currently paying in excess of 40-something thousand every month for gas here, where I used to pay 20,000. But going back to the issue of the economy itself, the economies of all the great economies of the world were built on borrowing. If they didn't borrow finances, they borrowed labor. America borrowed labor from Africa. It is the labor and the finance that they used to build the economy that we are enjoying today. So, like the panelists already pointed out, borrowing in itself is not the issue. It's what you spend the money that you borrow on that is the problem. And if we look at how the Nigerian infrastructural economy, because there's a difference between the infrastructural economy and the physical economy. The infrastructural economy of Nigeria is growing at a pace that if it had been growing at this pace, we would not be where we are today. We have rail lines that are practically functional between the major points of the country now. They've already started moving goods and services, which will reduce the kind of traffic that we see on the major highways. The highways are being reconstructed, the ports are being expanded. So when you are living in the growth of a country, you will suffer for the future generations. That's what Nigerians that are currently living are suffering. They are suffering for the growth of the country, and it's unfortunate, and we know that there's a lot of hardship.
Okay, yes. I mean, Mamadou, I think I have to cut in there, like you just said just now. You know, Nigerians basically are facing a whole lot of economic hardship. Now, inflation in the country is rising astronomically. Now, what I need you to see, who do you blame? Because you seem to be saying that the present administration of President Muhammadu Buhari seem to be taking us away from the doldrums. Then who do you blame for mismanagement of the administrations that brought Nigeria to this point? If you are not going to blame the governance, if there's any fault in governance, the blame should rest squarely in the president, who is Muhammadu Buhari. If there's also praise, the praise should go to him. But I'm not going to start pointing fingers of 4 or 5 years ago. All those times are past. Fortunately, we've come into an administration that is forward-looking, and they are building the infrastructure. Philip, there is no modern economy that operates without a functional rail line. UK, India, America, Germany, all of them have functional rail lines. And that is the prime focus of the Buhari administration, to expand the country using the rail lines, because it's the cheapest way to move goods and services and even people across the country. So where there's blame, I'm not saying there's no blame. I'm not saying things are perfect, but I'm saying that a lot is being done. A lot more should be done, okay, but a lot is being done. Thank you very much, Ahmed Mamadou. Ahmed Mamadou joined us via Zoom from Texas, US. Big thanks, Ahmed Mamadou, for taking our time to be part of this discussion. Well, as we wrap up, what do you see as the way forward, Cosmos Irabo, as it pertains to the economy at the federal level, as it trickles down to the state, and also that of the states under Governor OBASEKI?
Well, the key thing is sincerity. The problem with Nigeria is not that we don't have the mineral resources to make it. The problem with Nigeria is that we have leaders who are termed sellouts. Like, if I may go back to what he said, the newspaper, the magazine that you said.
Yeah, the Economist magazine.
The Economist magazine. I remember what the question you asked is Nigerian military, not Nigerian police. Nigerian military with regards to Boko Haram. What is the population of Nigerian military? And what's the population of Boko Haram? That in 11 years, they cannot tackle. If we are sincere to ourselves. How many of them has been prosecuted? I still come back to say that. So if we are using this platform, we should also tread and make sure that we are talking with facts and figures. The question was Nigerian military. How did you not derail to police?
Okay, looking at the way forward.
Then the way forward is simple, like I said. Sincerity. If you have achieved A, say I've achieved A. Not when you are not achieving, I use the word again, anything. It is not you are not doing something. Nobody say you are not doing something. But when what you are doing has nothing to do with what you are supposed to do, then I can come out to say you are not doing anything.
Okay. Let's look at your final words on this. Just as we have it on reports where the president launched the e-Naira, you see, it's all over the headlines. So it is the assumption or the belief that in the next 10 years, we're going to be having about $29 billion from the e-Naira launch. Do you think this is a laudable one under the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari? Yeah,
I think that the concept of perceptive retention comes to play.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of whether something is being done. It's whether do we appreciate, are we playing our part in making things work? Essentially. So anybody who believes that nothing has been done without that kind of deleterious politics we play in this country, the all A is B, nothing is being done in this country, that's not correct. That cannot be correct. So I think the point therefore is that a lot of things have been done at the federal and state level, and they are very commendable. The point about Department A goods, the issue of the rail lines, is something that we should never play with.
Okay.
This is what we call in political science the preconditions for takeoff. If you don't have these things in play, how do you develop? Your economy can never develop. You do roads that can only carry 30 tonnage. You take a truck that are 50 tonnage. The roads will not last. Those things that should go through the roads are going through our roads. And then you complain the roads are not working.
All right.
So we must look at the bigger picture. And finally, to make the point, is that I give my thumbs up to our security force, particularly the military. They are everywhere in this country. We are 29, at last count, they are in 29 states out of 36 in this country.
Okay.
Not only about Boko Haram, all the police are supposed to be doing it. I mean, the one doing it now. And so we must commend them while we're asking them to do more. The one that they have done, let us give them their credit.
Okay, thank you. But you just said they are in 29 states.
Out of 36.
Out of 36. But shouldn't it be all encompassing?
No, the point I'm making is that there should not even be any state at all.
Okay.
They shouldn't be there. The military also guard our territorial integrity. But because of the poverty, the smallness of our police, the civilian security, the military have had to come in virtually every conflict in the country.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim Momo, for taking our time to be part of this, and big thanks, Cosmos Irabo, for taking our time. Well, a lot has been said here, and there's a much we can take on the discussion segment, and it's still this morning on ITV. We take a short break. Do stay tuned.